Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the video. We're going to start out here working over gas and a brake pedal, and then we're going to move into building a frame for some cool bucket seats. So kick back and get ready, because we're going to get these seats and pedals where they work good for us in this truck.
All right, so on your old truck, you've got a flange on the inside. On the 68 model, it still used a lever going through. It didn't use a cable, so it's got these three nuts on the inside here that are spot welded to the body. I left these two on. I ground this one flat, and then my bolt hole I'm using is the large hole where the rod used to go through the firewall. Put a big washer on it, threw a bunch of tape on there, got it to kind of stay right there for now so it acts like a stud. And then our gas pedal assembly just fits right up on that. So I'm gonna turn the camera off and carefully position this thing up here, tighten the nut, and we'll see what we feel like with our foot. All right. There's first fit, and then I did have to bend this over, and that threw off our angle of our pedal here. Let me scoot this back a little bit. Sorry about that, guys. So I bent it this way. Of course, that makes our gas pedal at a weird angle. So I'm going to just take the torch and heat this and tweak this back into place. We are getting full pedal engagement, and I think that's far enough that it'll mash down on the carpet and be fine. I just need to move that pedal to make it more straight up and down. So we'll get that done.
All right, so disclaimer here for you. This torch gets stuff really hot. I did not disassemble all the plastic off there, but I am being careful that I do not melt the crap out of stuff. I'm just trying to get this thing hot enough so that I can bend it and manipulate it around there, you know, kind of that master the molten metal kind of thing.
We're sitting in here, fairly comfortable arm level. I think I'm going to have to raise the bottom of these seats up a little bit. My foot is pretty comfortable there. It's not arched back the way it was before. Once the seat's up a little higher, it'll make it even better. We do get full pedal engagement. That really matters. So it still looks a little strange, but I think it's just me staring at it for so long. I think ha 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 ha. You gotta have a ground, man. You gotta have a ground. So wasn't too bad to fill in my big gap there. Got this little burn off bunch of paint right here. I painted this thing once. I'm going to wait to paint it until I'm sure it's the way I want it to be. While I was digging through the salvage, I got another piece. I got a brake pedal. Whoa, get it in the frame. I got a brake pedal so that we'd have a little wider spot to put our foot than what is in these C10s from the factory. Plan with it is just to come in here, slice off the brake pedal in the truck, get this height and distance from the floor, everything the same,
weld this to the existing arm in the truck and just run with that. I think it'll be nice to have a little bit wider brake pedal though. All right, we got it modified here. Gas pedal looks weird, but as soon as you put your foot on it, it's got a spring and it's comfy. I was sitting here a minute ago, from brake to gas is comfortable. Yeah, so hey, that little deal's done. All right, guys, I thought I better bring you in and show you what I had going. You know, last little bit we got our fuel pedal, I guess that's a throttle pedal mounted, and our brake pedal modified. I'm figuring I better do something in here to get ready to mount our seats in. So I'm just using some basic old square tubing. I'm actually using up all of the short drops and stuff that I've had from building a lot of oddball projects. I did build some plates that just bolt into the factory mounting locations. This is a piece of 2 1/4 by 1 1/4 heavy wall square tube. This is just 1 inch heavy square tubing. This piece is 19 inches long. This piece is 45 1/2. And to get these all completely centered, this one needed to be 46. So got those lengths, and then down here I added a piece that's 2 1/4 inches tall to support that square tubing, and that makes it come out flush with the top here. Then my seats that I am using, the bolt holes are 13 inches apart front to rear, and they're 15 inches wide. So I'll be setting that track up, getting everything as centered as possible. Just kind of lay some stuff out, weld some tabs on, or some pieces of angle with holes drilled for 4 tabs. We're using bucket seats this time, by the way. Just some old takeouts out of, I think these are 2001 or something like that, Monte Carlo. They were pretty nice when I got them. They've got a lot of Bondo dust and crap on them right now, but they're not worth cleaning up yet. So we'll have to get this stuff tabs on. Nothing's welded in place right now at this time. I did have to add a little riser back here. That's 3/4 of an inch tall to get this piece to sit level front to rear. And I don't know that that matters in the seat base, but it will matter in our console, I believe. So trying to build this thing so we can get a console and everything in it. But like the factory buddy buckets for these trucks are ridiculous expensive. All of this stuff is gone through the roof. So I'm trying to, again, get it done as cheap as you can. I mean, geez, we're not all millionaires. We can't afford to build these $50,000, $60,000 trucks, but we want to have something that's nice and dependable. So, yeah, I'll bring you guys back in after I get her all squared up, tacked in here, and then we can kind of see where we're at. All right, guys. So I did come in and cut a couple of little pieces here. They're about 3 inches long to weld, and almost like I'd call it an outrigger built for this seat, just to give us a couple more inches over towards the door panel of the truck. And I'm using a straight edge here to line all this up flat with what we already have built, tacking them in place, putting one in the front and one in the back, and then we'll come in and drill some holes later so that we can mount our seat up. I figured this would just be the best way to get that over there and still keep it really strong with that center beam being mounted down to the middle of the original bolt holes. So that's what we got going on here, and we'll just keep on building this thing. I like eyeballing stuff as much as the next guy does, but I think to line up our seats and get that driver's seat pretty centered up, we just use this laser setup. I'll turn the lights back on here in a second and show you, but this is kind of what we're going for here, is get this middle of the steering wheel, middle of the steering column lined up with the middle of the back of the seat. I think we've got it pretty close to dialed at this point. All right, so we're really fancy. Got our laser set up at the wobbliest wooden ladder ever. Everybody's got one. I know you do. Admit it. Now, I put a piece of metal in here, just kind of tucked it in with a 90 so that my magnetic mount for my laser would fit on there and stay still. And I got it up high enough that the laser's projecting down onto the middle of that bolt, which is pretty much the middle of the bottom of the steering column. And then we know we're going to have a level line coming up from that. And you can see like we are pretty close to the middle of the steering wheel. Yeah, pretty close there. Back of the seat, it shows up better. We're close enough right there. Got just a little bit of room. These things are coming off, but they are the same width on both sides, so I just left it on there so I could kind of get a gauge on where we're sitting on the side. That gives us a little bit of room beside the seat, down the floor, and I think it's good. All right, and I just cut the backrest off of the seats because I didn't like how far those stuck up. And I put a piece of tape, hopefully you can see that, along the back of the cab, even from one side to the other. And I think we've got the backs of the seats pretty even now. So that's good. All the holes are drilled, all the mounts are built. Now we just have to unbolt everything, take it out, and finish weld it. So you can see they are, because, yeah, that's the way we built them. Still have to put a bracket go into the floor on that piece of square tubing. You can see we got 1 inch square tube running across here. And the width in between the seats, well, it's about equal to the width of that transmission hump. I think that's going to work out great. I like the new low back look of the seats. And like I said, just got to take all the bolts out, get this thing on the bench so we can finish weld it, and move on to the next project. I think we're going to have to work on our steering column because it seems a little loose. See that? Yeah, it's got the Chevrolet loosey-goosey tilt syndrome. So that'll be another video another day. Alright, we got a bunch of stuff welded up. This is kind of what your framework for your bench seat's going to look like, or I mean your bucket seats is going to look like. Going across there, 1 inch square tube, everything just bolted down in the factory bolt locations. We do have a couple of spots here for some additional bolts in the middle to provide support for the seat. We're going to get the other side of this welded up like this side is, so I can pull this out and do the finish welding on the bench. right, and it is a new day out here in the hog barn. We're doing some grinding today, cleaning up some welding on our seat bracket. Got a couple things you can see. Got some safety glasses on. Man, when you're grinding, I love these gloves because they're rubber grip, but I just barely bumped the back, and you can see got a little knock in the bark there. Yeah, I don't know how well the sound will work out here because the wind's blowing like it's Oklahoma, sweeping down the plains. But you can kind of see a little bit of grinding, maybe like 20 minutes worth to grind all these welds, smooth everything out. Next step, we're going to throw some primer on here, just some kind of self-etch. First I got to clean all the oil off of that metal. Yep, I don't know how that looks on camera, but it's pretty cool. I believe it's gonna start storming a little bit later. So got our seat frame all built, so the seats do bolt in these bolts or these brackets hold the bolts in place. It bolts down in the factory locations where the bench seat did, and then you got 4 additional spots in the middle of the truck to bolt down. You can see those. Built out of some simple stuff, guys. 1-inch square tube. This was kind of some oddball stuff. It's 2 1/4 by 1 inch. Did have to build a little piece in the back here to step it up to get this piece close to level. I think it's gonna work out great. All right, so this afternoon we've got our bracket bolted back in, got our seats in. I think everything here looks good. Pedals are done. Got to pull that column out, take it apart, fix that. Another video on that stuff. I just wanted to close out here showing this thing put back together and our seats in there. Yeah, quite a bit of progress in this video. So hey, if you like what we're doing, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel. If there's somebody out there that's building one of these, you know this might help, suggest it to them, share it, and we'll catch you on the next one.